The best way to describe the experience of someone going through anxiety is through the example of what is called the Panopticon. Now, the Panopticon is a very interesting, not only idea, but actual creation. It's something that was developed, I think around the 20th century, to increase the power dynamic for people who are observing inmates in jails. So what you'd have is a architectural system, structure, where there is kind of like a lighthouse structure within the center of the prison, and it looks over all of the inmates. And this was created so that it would create more order, a better power dynamic in the superiority and in the hands of the guards and the prison, so that they could control them like more easily through paranoia, fundamentally. And what this would create for the people within the jail is that the inmates would be second guessing themselves. There would be they'd be doubtful of doing certain things because they know that the guards would be watching them, and then they can't escape the all-seeing eye, you could say, of the Panopticon. And then Michel Foucault, who talked about this when he's talking about the philosophy of power and all of this type of stuff, he said that he regarded this as some panopticism, that there is a creation of this within society in a sense through like surveillance systems and all that. But I think that this perfectly defines the individual's experience of anxiety, because the individual experiences anxiety in the same way that the inmates would experience being within that kind of jail. They'll be second guessing themselves. They'll be rethinking all of their decisions. They won't be doing certain things that they want to be doing because they know that someone else is observing them. And the all-seeing eye, in this sense, is the thing that is judging, superior and overbearing, and is watchful of everything that you're doing, and is in control of the situation. It's the system that is controlling your direction in life. And this is exactly how someone with anxiety lives their life. They kind of live their life as if they are in the Panopticon prison, as if there is an all-seeing eye, a tower of control that is observing them all the time. So they're anxious when they're doing certain things. They don't do certain things because they believe that everyone is judging them, or everything is judging them negatively. They fundamentally doubt themselves. They have extreme self-doubt. And that is the foundation to anxiety, is self-doubt. And, for example, if you're in a prison, like a Panopticon prison, you would be always doubting yourself. You'd be making sure that I don't do this certain thing because the prison is watching me, this is watching me. And it creates this sense of extreme surveillance, even if there isn't actually surveillance. Even if they're not watching you, there is still surveillance and it controls your behaviour. That is anxiety. Panopticism. So how do we kind of break this kind of problem? Because anxiety isn't justified, really. A lot of anxiety isn't justified. And the only way so we have to figure out, how do we destroy self-doubt? Because if self-doubt is at the foundation of anxiety, we need to figure out how do we get rid of self-doubt. And there's something I like, which is not a technique, but more of a mindset, called the 30-second method. Which is realizing, because the only way we can really function in society is if we live by certainties, which are like principles of reality. We have to function through certainties, things that we are certain of, truths, on a large scale of it, kind of objective truths, And that's how we can orientate ourselves in life so that we can do what we're going to do. So the 30-second principle could be something like this. People are busy doing their own things in life. People are living their life. People are busy all the time. So after an interaction with someone's going to forget you 30 seconds afterwards. If it's a glance, if it's small talk, if it's anything, whatever stimulates that social anxiety, or some sort of anxiety in some sense, that person You know, if we're so worried about the judgment of other people, which is also another foundation of anxiety, judgment and self-doubt. Self-doubt because we believe the other person is judging us. Then we're always going to be in this kind of state of inaction. But what we need to do is to realize that, wait, no one's actually going to remember these things. The 30-second rule is very real. People are busy doing their own things. The only reason why someone's going to remember an interaction with you is because maybe you did something positive. Maybe you were encouraging. Maybe you struck up a conversation and it was nice for that other individual. Maybe you were, through encouragement, being motivational at the same time. Now, if we live by certainties and we understand certain principles of reality, like this being one principle, people are living their own lives. They're not going to remember these small little details that we are so self-doubtful about, that we are so self-limiting about. And, you know, people are living their own lives. And the only time someone's actually really going to remember something is if you actually do something positive, which is a good thing. Then what is the validation for anxiety? What is the validation for doubt? Self-doubt even. Because if we have a certainty and something that is mostly objectively real, for example, this kind of like 30-second principle, people are going to forget that interaction 30 seconds after because, you know, they're working and doing their own thing, busy. Then that gets rid of the doubt because it's a certainty. So if it's a certainty, it gets rid of the doubt that we have. And therefore, if it gets rid of the doubt, it gets rid of the anxiety. It takes it away because we're looking at a way of looking at the objective truth of reality. And we just apply it to this kind of behavior pattern that we have with something like anxiety. And it invalidates the anxiety because it's not valid. You know, of course, there's anxiety for loads of different reasons, but if social anxiety is at the crux of this kind of problem, then we can look at this and we can use that as a mindset shift or a mindset technique to move on from it. So it's not something that's always controlling us. And I think the best way of looking at anxiety is looking at it through the example of the Panopticon, because it's the all-seeing eye of judgment. And we believe it's real. People who have anxiety believe it's actually real, that there is this all-seeing eye. Everyone's looking at us, everyone's judging us. So therefore we doubt our actions, therefore we doubt doing certain things, therefore we avoid doing certain things that we actually want to do to make us happier in life, all this type of stuff. The only time the Panopticon is real is if you live in a digital reality or if you are in a prison. A digital reality because everything is surveillanced digitally, basically in some sort of way, either automatically or maybe sometimes manually, depending on who you are and what kind of person you are, you know, or if you're famous or if you're causing a bit of trouble, you know. But that's the only time when there is that Panopticon all-seeing eye reality. So that is a way of trying to destroy it. Don't use techniques to get rid of anxiety. You know, there's techniques you can use, but they're more coping mechanisms. Look at the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is that there is no all-seeing eye in the reality of the outside world. People are busy with their own lives. The 30-second principle is mostly true, you know. It mostly is the case. People are only really going to remember a small, nice interaction with you and that is a positive thing. People are not going to remember anything else. So that's really it. Panopticism. It's a good way of trying to look at anxiety, how it functions, and how to break it down to move on from it. And I don't think really there is a better example than using that idea and kind of looking at it from how does anxiety work? How does paranoia work? How does fear work at the fundamental level of it? So if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to give it a like, comment your thoughts, share it about, and all that good stuff. And if you yourself are struggling with something like anxiety, or you're struggling with bad habits, low self-esteem, anything of that nature, procrastination, then do please book in a free one-on-one consultation call with me, where we can see how we can apply practical solutions that I use with many people to the problems that you're trying to fix for yourself. So if you're interested in doing that, doing any kind of coaching of any kind with me, book in a free call with me and we can see how we can go from there, have a chat and see what kind of problems you're dealing with, to see how I can provide the solutions for you. And of course, if you also want to download the free mini course of unlocking the mechanics of individuation, that is also in the links down below as well. So do grab that if you can. It's very, very good. I put a lot of time into that webinar, and there's a lot of practical methods and ways of looking at it, perspectives, to kind of initiate you onto that journey. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll speak to you in the next one.